Hello and welcome back to Art Masters with me, Mrs. Portilla. Today we'll be doing abstract and surreal art by Joan Miro. What is abstract and surreal? You might have already learned, but I'm just going to cover it again. Surrealism is beyond real or even dreamlike. Abstract is unrealistic and often tries to evoke a mood. So we're going to work on being really creative today. The surrealists like to let their unconscious be released. What the heck does that mean? It just means instead of thinking about what you're drawing, you're just letting your hand move, and then you think about it in the second half. So the way that artists like Miro and other surrealists would do this is they would play a game essentially called Squiggle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an example of what Squiggle is with my whiteboard. So a squiggle, we're going to do a scribble. I am not even thinking about what I just put down on the paper. So now I'm going to look at it and think, what does this look like? Well, I'm going to close it and I'm going to make this an abstract ram or a bull. Does that look real? Nope. So Miro also did kind of childlike, imaginative, and dreamlike drawings. So an abstract bull, that's what I saw. Maybe you saw something different. That's an abstract Christmas tree. So that's what squiggle is. Squiggle is we're going to be putting down any type of squiggly line, not thinking about it, not trying to be perfect, and then we're going to turn it into a really cool shape. So that's what we're going to be doing with Miro today. As you can see, his was abstract and he just used shape, color, and line. So get your supplies and let's get creative. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to clear our space a little bit. So we should just have our big white paper. You can keep the newsprint to keep your desk clean. So remember how we did squiggle. We want to be really creative, not too technical on this first part. So we're really trying to get creative. So you're going to take your pen and we're just going to imagine the line that we're going to do. Let me show you an example of a couple of the finished pieces so you can see what we're doing. So we're going to get this background line done. You see how? So if you're more comfortable and you want to start with a pencil, you can, and then we can go over it with marker. Or if you feel pretty confident, we're just going to practice making big lines, big movements. I'm not doing middle, big movements. And then we're going to do it with our marker. So I'm going to do it with my marker. Just watch real quick and then you're going to do it. So I'm going to keep it open-ended, which means I'm not going to connect the last 2 points because I want it to seem floating. You'll see what I'm saying. I'm going to start up here, holding my pen very loosely. And then I'm going to kind of make some curves, come back in, just like that. So I have it open-ended. I didn't close it to make it a shape. So take your white paper and your pen, start with the cap on just to practice your big arm movements. And then when you're ready, you're going to take the cap off and you're going to make big, light strokes. Again, if you're more comfortable, you could start with your pencil and then go over it with a marker. Okay, and then come back. So next we're going to grab our little colored papers. So you could choose any colors you want, but what we're going to do, we're making abstract shapes. So abstract means it's not real. We're not really thinking about, I'm going to make a cat. We're just thinking about a shape. Later on, we're going to think about what it looks like. So I'm going to either make a wiggly shape, a curvy shape, or maybe a prickly shape, maybe a really geometric shape. Okay, but it's just about the shape. Very abstract. I'm not thinking about anything. So I'm going to do it two ways. First, I'm going to just start with my scissors and go for it. So right now I'm going to decide this is going to be curvy, meaning I'm going to make a random shape. The edges are going to be rounded. I'm not even thinking about what it looks like. It's just a wiggly shape. I'm going to keep my scraps because who knows. Now I'm going to take another color and I'm going to show you a different way if you feel like you're not comfortable just cutting it freehand. I'm going to use my pencil and I'm gonna make a more, maybe a prickly, pointy shape. So again, I'm not holding my pencil super tight. I'm holding it very loose. So that allows me to be a little more free with my sketch. Okay. So you can also sketch on one if that makes you feel more comfortable. And you could go over your sketch because we're gonna just glue it down anyway, so it doesn't matter if you decide you need it to be bigger. Okay, so then you're gonna take your scissors and you'll cut around the shape. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so go ahead and let's do 3 shapes. And you can do a wiggly, a curvy, geometric. You could cut it freehand like I did without drawing. Or you could sketch it first, and then once we cut it out, we'll glue it down so you won't see the pencil much. So go ahead. Great job, guys. So you should have about 3 shapes. They shouldn't look like anything very abstract. So now we're going to do a repeated shape. So we could maybe make a pattern, and then we'll arrange the parts to make it look balanced. So when we do a repeated shape, I'm going to use black. You can use whatever color you want, but we fold it in half, right? And then we fold it in half one more time. So now I'm going to cut a shape freehand, and it could be a circle, a triangle, a wiggly, whatever you want, but try to use like a big part of the paper. So now I have 4 shapes. So go ahead and grab one of your little pieces of paper, it doesn't matter what color, fold it in half 2 times, and then you're gonna cut a wiggly abstract shape, which will give you a repeated shape, and then come back to me and we will start laying out our composition. All right, great job, guys. So we should have some large abstract shapes, and then we should have some smaller repeated shapes. So now we're gonna start thinking a little bit more. We're gonna start turning our brains, our technical side back on. So the beginning was a little bit more creative and abstract. Now we're gonna kind of make a plan. So we're gonna arrange our composition. We're gonna think about balance, and maybe we're gonna overlap the line. Maybe we'll put things next to each other. We're not gluing yet, we're kind of just thinking. So now you can start to see if any of these shapes start meaning something to you, and then see what you feel. So I'm gonna put some of these repeated shapes on the line. I'm thinking about balance. I'm not gonna put all the shapes on one side because that looks really heavy. I'm gonna kind of move them around and see what looks good. Maybe I want my yellow up here. This guy's starting to look like a bat or a monster. Maybe I'll put this guy here. Oh, maybe these 2 guys are chatting because they're so close to each other. Maybe they could be friends. And I also have 1 piece of paper left. So if I feel like I need another shape somewhere to balance, I can do that. So go ahead and start laying out your composition, thinking about balance, and then now you can start to think about, what do these shapes look like? Are they talking? Are they all going to be the same type of shape? What happens if I turn the shape another way? Does it look better? So go ahead and kind of lay out your composition on top of the line. You could put it next to your line. Just depends how you feel, okay? So go ahead and lay it out, and then we're not going to glue quite yet. Okay, guys, hopefully you're happy with how you've laid stuff out. If I happen to have an extra shape, so I might want to make another guy, maybe something a little smaller. If you have any scraps and you feel like you need a little bit of an extra shape, that's fine. But remember, we like negative space. A little bit of space is good, right? So maybe we leave that guy there. This shape I actually decided to cut just because, which left me with this other cool shape. Maybe I'll overlap a shape. Okay, so then I'm gonna glue down. So we're gonna start to glue down our shapes, and then really as you're gluing them down, start to think, what do they look like? Just like squiggle. Is this guy looking like a bat or is he looking like a monster? Is this a fish or a bird? So start gluing down your shapes, and then we're going to add some details to make our art come alive. Okay, you guys should have all of your shapes glued down at this point. Notice that I still have a lot of negative space. This is what I want. If you look at Miro's art that you have in the classroom, you'll see he has a lot of negative space in the back. There's a little texture, but for the most part, there's just some simple shapes, some lines, and a lot of negative space. So I'm pretty happy with this. It's looking balanced. You can always add a little more, but remember, in this type of art, less is more. You don't want it to be too overwhelmed with shapes. So now we're going to get creative. So now we're kind of getting in that squiggle mindset, right? Oh, I missed a piece. So let's take a look. I'm going to look at my shapes so you can kind of see how my thought process is going. And then you're going to look at your shapes. So you can use a pencil first if you're not feeling confident. I'm going to use my marker. And remember, this is abstract and surreal, so it's dreamlike. He actually liked to kind of create like a child, like through a child's perception. So we're going to have very simple details. So this guy, at first, he kind of looked like a bat to me. Like I could make his face here, and then this would be a wing. But then I decided, kind of thinking out loud here, being creative, this guy kind of looks like a fish. What does he look like to you? He could be anything, right? So I'm thinking he's going to be a fish. He could be a bird head with a beak, but I think he's going to be a fish, and this guy is eating this guy because why not? And he's not going to be a real fish. He's kind of going to be like an abstract fish monster. So this is his big mouth. This is going to be his big creepy eyeball. So I got this monster eating this guy. So you kind of get my idea. So since I'm kind of going with a fish monster theme, maybe I'll make these guys kind of sea creatures or birds because they're kind of bird fish, okay? So this is dreamlike. You guys dream about weird things all the time. Doesn't have to be real. So whatever you think your shape looks like, go ahead and just add a little bit of detail, and then you're gonna just kind of make it a theme. Mine's kind of a creepy fish bird theme. All right, guys, I hope that you've come up with some really cool, creative, abstract, dreamlike friends. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my pen and I'm just going to add very minimal lines to make it a little more interesting, I guess. So this guy, I'm going to give him some curly hair. Did I go overboard or just add 3 lines? I just added 3 lines. So once I add my little bit of details, I'm going to sign my name. So you don't have to do cursive. We're just going to write our name. And then Miro actually gave his painting some titles. So sometimes he called something the garden. Even though it didn't really look like the garden, that's kind of the theme he felt. So mine, I'm going to call it the food chain because that guy's eating this guy, maybe this guy's eating that guy. So it doesn't really have to make sense. Isn't that nice? I'm going to write this. You do not have to do this if you don't want to give it a title. And then I'm going to sign my name. Good job today, guys, getting really creative and abstract and pushing the boundaries. So I hope you guys came up with some really cool, dreamlike, surreal, abstract ideas, and that you're able to evaluate each other's work. So some things we're going to think about when we're evaluating is it balanced? Does everything look balanced? Even though it doesn't look real, it's still balanced with the colors and the shape and the line. And maybe you could tell your friend what this guy looks like to you. Maybe it looks like something to you that it looks like something different to somebody else. So that's what we're gonna do today, is evaluate each other's art. Be sure that you glue the Joan Miro on the back, and if you didn't sign it, put your name on the back. So great job today, everyone, with your surrealist work by Miro.